So in this segment, we're going to be discussing Sir Keir Starmer versus the Bengali community, and why he's addressing the Sun. I have no idea, considering all the awful things that they've done and said. But it's clear he's trying to appeal to a certain demographic.
Done it before. I know how it's done. I think it can be done again, and that way we can stop people coming here in the first place. On the question of returns, because you raised that, which is very important, the number of people being returned to where they came from has dropped off by 44% under this government. So on the first few days in government, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put the staff back in the returns unit. I'll make sure that we've got planes going off, not to Rwanda, because that's expensive. That's an expensive gimmick. They will go back to the country.
See, he was doing so well here.
Countries where people come from. That's what used to happen.
Where? I mean, it's so hard to do.
Well, at the moment, people coming from countries like Bangladesh are not being removed because they're...
So there's someone who claimed that this clip was selectively edited, right? You can see he singled out the Bangladeshi community. Didn't mention any other countries here. Why is he singling out the Bengali community? I don't get it. You know, Labour then described a clip of Starmer using the removal of Bangladeshi migrants from the UK as misinformation amid concern. So they started gaslighting people. They said, "Oh, what you think you saw is not really what you saw," and you know, because Labour was scared it's cutting through. They've already lost a decent chunk of voters because of you know, his Gaza comments. You know, when he was asked about cutting off food, cutting off water, and he you know, he said Israel does have that right. So you can see here the Labour Party are scared about losing core voters, as they should be. And it goes on, you know, this is Jonathan Ashworth doubling down on this stuff.
Your deterrent be?
Well, we're going to send people back. We're going to process people's claims.
Look how energetic he is.
And we're going to get on with processing people's claims. And those people who shouldn't be here, when they come from countries like Bangladesh or wherever.
What's going on here? Again, like, why is he going after Bangladesh for? What did we do? I don't get it.
We're going to send them back.
But why would that stop people getting into boats?
This, I believe, is after the Sun interview. Like, it's clear this was the party line.
Because at the moment, they...
And, you know, we'll discuss this later, but the Bangladeshi refugees aren't, you know, crossing the English Channel. So it's not even like this idea that, you know, deporting Bangladeshi refugees specifically will stop channel crossings is simply untrue.
They come over here. They know Rwanda only deals with 1%. The rest stay in a hotel for the rest of their lives.
Which is really not what they want. No one wants to stay in a hotel like that. They want their claims processed, so they can actually carry on in the hopes that they will be allowed to be you know, given asylum here. You know, living a life in a hotel is not a good life.
A big flashing incentive to come here, whereas we're saying that rather than sending flights to Rwanda, we're going to be sending flights to all the countries that these people came from by sending people back.
Well, most asylum seekers, according to official figures, come from Afghanistan and Iran. You're not suggesting to voters that you'll get a returns agreement, with the Taliban and with the Iranian regime.
But we're talking about people like that. We've got people coming from Albania, from India, from Bangladesh.
With the Albania, there is a returns agreement already there.
Just literally ignored the two countries where most asylum seekers come from.
Yeah,
you're not going to get a returns
big
agreement.
proportion is India, Bangladesh, Albania. We
and
need to deal with those
you're still
countries.
ignoring Afghanistan and Iran. Are you saying you're going to get returns agreements with those two countries?
Well, you look at each one on its merits, obviously.
She absolutely cooked this fraud, honestly.
The answer's no.
But at the moment...
I thought you were an honest politician.
I am
I love the fact that she does it. I've seen her do this a few times. She's like, I thought you were an honest politician, or I thought you were a straight-talking politician. It's a really good journalistic tactic.
Honest politicians, why I'm giving you an answer.
Are you saying you're going to get a returns agreement with the Taliban?
We can get returns agreement. Well, that's a different... The Taliban and Afghanistan is a different setup.
Correct. And I'm asking you, are you going to get a returns agreement?
And I'm giving you practical examples of where we believe we can deal with these problems. Because at the moment, people coming here from the Indian subcontinent, you know, do not get returned. They get put up in hotels and they can...
That's not even true. They do actually get returned once their claims are processed.
Stay in these hotels for the rest of their lives. That's the Tory policy. So when we say we're going to get flights off, yeah, we're going to get flights.
Just this guy, absolutely insufferable. You know, happy to keep kids in poverty. And, you know, look how energetic he is when it comes to talking about deporting people. Just a scumbag. And we look at here, the top 5 countries. You've got Afghanistan, Iran, India, Pakistan and Turkey. Where's Bangladesh at? If you look at, you know, the top 10 here, Turkey, Eritrea, then it's Bangladesh, you've got Albania, Syria and Sudan. So why they singled out Bangladesh? I don't get it. I'll cover this on stream. It was incredibly frustrating, and this is more what he had to say.
Given your recent racist comments made against Bangladeshi migrants, how can we differentiate you with Nigel Farage and vote for Labour under your leadership?
What did he say, Ithaca?
He said currently Bangladeshi migrants are not being removed. Why would the Bangladeshi migrants would be removed?
Yeah, let me address that.
Have you apologised?
Well, look, I've recognised. I spent yesterday.
So listen to the words he says here. I want you to listen. Pay attention, guys.
Making it clear that I didn't intend to cause any upset or offence, and I'm genuinely concerned.
Well, you did cause upset and offence, and it warrants an apology.
If that is the case, because
It is the case.
Because the Bangladeshi community in this country has made a huge contribution to our economy, to our culture and to our country. There are very strong bonds between the Labour Party and the Bangladeshi community.
So why would you single out the Bangladeshi community? That makes it even worse. It literally makes your betrayal worse.
Including between me and the Bangladeshi community, particularly in my constituency, so much so that the first country I visited as a Labour MP was Bangladesh, so that
I'm not racist, guys. I visited Bangladesh. That's a new one on me, guy. It's a new one.
Could see for myself the homes. We went to Dhaka to start with, then Sylhet and Mulvi Bazaar in Bangladesh, so I could see for myself and was taken to the homes of my constituents.
So you were clumsy, but you didn't mean badly.
Clumsy would be a good word, and I did.
Yeah, Janice really saved him there. So oops, whoopsie, I didn't mean to say that. Oops, just like he did over, when he talked about Gaza, like we mentioned before. Whoopsie, sorry guys, mistake. And this is a journalist being asked about. This is a lady who got a peerage thanks to Starmer.
Is that you'll know that Keir Starmer said amongst the backlog we have to stop people coming from these countries or send them back quicker. For example, in a Sun interview, people from Bangladesh. Bangladesh isn't even in the top 5 of countries of people who come. From people who come from that part of the world. And a Labour prospective candidate, Afsana Begum, says, well, that's just nothing more than a dog whistle.
Disagree. It's not a dog whistle. It's a foghorn. Especially when you look at who he was saying it to. It was Sun readers.
Right, so people who don't like people of colour.
I think those
Sun readers
comments have been misconstrued.
We've gone over it. It wasn't misconstrued. This is what people do. They gaslight you. So-called journalists, they gaslight you and tell you what you heard is not what you think you heard. Pleb, idiot, moron. That's what they say. Do you remember the whole anti-protest stuff when one guy said he doesn't get why David Lammy said Labour won't have time to repeal the anti-protest laws. And what did James O'Brien say? No, what you heard wrong. What you think you heard is not what you heard. Gaslighting.
Was not saying in terms of taking people back to Bangladesh. He was using that as an example. That's my understanding from reading the full press report.
Why did he do that?
I don't know. I mean, I think he was basically being asked about countries that, you could do a returns agreement with. Perhaps he should have said Vietnam, but I think...
Why the hell would he mention Vietnam? Vietnam would be worse. I think there are less refugees coming from Vietnam. Just brain dead, honestly. You've got it's gone very far, guys. Very prominent members of the Bangladeshi community. A Bangladeshi community leader reached out to say that the community is seething. The British Bangladeshi community is seething with anger after having loyally supported Labour our entire lives. We're seeing far-right rhetoric take hold in Labour. The British Bangladeshi community contributes billions to the UK economy, and without our communities, essential services and whole industries would never run. Keir Starmer should be ashamed of himself and take a long, hard look in the mirror. A Prime Minister in waiting should never attack minority communities whose support he relies on. Otherwise, what difference is he to the far right? He should apologise immediately and withdraw his comments. I 100% agree with this. And he barely withdrew his comments. Honestly, there's more here.
You said that illegal migrants from Bangladesh were not being returned there. Why did you pick, of all places, Bangladesh? And what have you got to say to people from the British Bangladeshi community who are now genuinely worried about what will happen?
Well, let me start by saying how much I value the incredible contribution that the Bangladeshi community here in Britain has made to our economy, to our culture, to our country. And there's long been a relationship, a strong relationship and friendship between Labour and the Bangladeshi community here in Britain. And my first trip as a Labour MP was to Bangladesh, where I saw for myself.
So there's no apology here. There's no apology. I wasn't intending to cause any offence or concern, but there's no apology. Now, this is what I said to Bengali TV.
Any upset I may have caused. I'm very concerned about any upset I may have caused. That certainly wasn't my intention. I didn't mean to offend anyone or upset anyone, and I'm genuinely concerned that I have done so, not least because...
It's literally just NPC answers. But this is how you do an apology.
Hold our hands up, but when it right, we hold our heads up too. You learn from your mistakes, and that's what we will do. I accept that won't be enough for everyone, but I owe it to you. You learn from your mistakes, and that's what we will do. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry.
I will take any excuse to play this song, but here you have someone saying, when you're wrong, you hold your hands up and you apologise. And I didn't hear an apology from the night.
Easy way to say I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
They've been to drag it on that long. I love that song. There's no apology here. When you got Labour frontbencher Bridget Phillipson asked about this, she just can't answer the question.
Did he single those people out? I mean, not least a member of your own party has made clear that that was nothing more, Asbana Begum, a dog whistle racism against Bangladesh.
Foghorn, an absolute foghorn.
I mean, if he doesn't know the top 5 countries where people are claiming asylum from, how can this be a serious policy to remove people back from places where, frankly, they shouldn't have arrived from in the first place?
So what we want to see a return to is a functioning asylum and immigration system where when people come to this country, their cases are processed, they're interviewed.
Again, just not answering the question at all. It's just a generic reply. It's a generic email reply. That's all we're hearing from them.
Their cases are dealt with.
Interrupt you, but you have made that point really well. Can I ask you specifically about Sir Keir Starmer referencing the Bangladeshi community? Does he have a particular problem with the community?
Does feel like it. It feels personal, I'm not going to lie.
You know why he mentioned them? What was the reference? Because it's caused offence in your party. So can you clear up for us what that was about?
The point is that there are a number of countries where it is safe to return people to. That applies also, for example, in the case of Albania, where a recent returns agreement...
So why didn't he mention Albania as well? I don't get it.
I think demonstrates what can be done if you're serious about making sure that you have return agreements in place, and that's what Labour would see.
So she gets asked about it again here.
Because your answers make me feel like you don't know.
It's one of a number of safe countries where people can be returned to. And what we want to see are cases processed, people being interviewed, where they have a right to be in this.
So why did you pick on that one? Can you seem to not understand why people have got...
She's talking to, the interview here is talking to Phillipson like she's a child, an infant, saying, you don't seem to understand what you've done wrong.
Upset because he referenced that community as one, go back, and it without the context, which unfortunately you're not providing for us.
It's just honestly just embarrassing. Like this is the quality on Labour's front bench. Shocking. She refused to answer a question. Just filibuster. Like what's the point? Just don't go on interviews at that point. You just embarrass yourselves. This from Shoaib Khan. Starmer's Bangladesh comments caused a small diplomatic incident. I've seen a letter sent to Starmer from the Bangladesh High Commission highlighting there isn't a single case of returns pending. Bangladesh has never been in the top 20 nations of small boat arrivals. Saying I've been approached by a good number of eminent leaders of the Bangladesh diaspora in the UK who have not only been saddened by your comments but also raised concerns. Bangladesh was never in the list of top 20 countries with the highest numbers of small boat arrivals. During the recently concluded meeting of the Bangladesh UK Home Office Joint Working Group, it was testified not a single case of returns is pending to date. Letter is, however, also praiseworthy of Starmer's attempts to engage with the Bangladeshi community. So it's clear that Bangladesh is not the problem when it comes to returns or the ones in hotels. Are just brain dead. This guy, just moronic, probably picked the first group of brown people he could think of in that Sun meeting. Why stop going on the Sun? Stop associating with Murdoch Press. Just stop it. Honestly, you're embarrassing yourselves, guys. Why you decide to pick on a community, I have no idea. especially a community of core Labour voters, just to appeal to what? A bunch of Sun readers? Like, really, is this? These are people you're trying to appeal to? Just say you hate minorities, because I can tell you now what Labour is going to struggle with is keeping hold of their new coalition of voters, because these people are swing voters. They flutter, they move around. You have to win your core voters plus swing in order to do well at elections. You have still some core voters. You're going to get a big swing, but after that, in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, you've lost your core voters. You're going to have lost swing voters. What are you going to do at that point? Honestly. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below. This one is personal, I'm not going to lie. Support the channel on Patreon if you can, and I'll catch you in the next one.